Ready to get down to business? Join seasoned entrepreneur, community leader, and Army veteran Scott Shalom Klein, who will take you behind the scenes with those who work in America's small business scene and speak with leaders making an impact, creating jobs, and telling their story in entrepreneurship. So let's get down to business. On AM 560, The Answer, here's your host, Shalom Klein.
And indeed, we're all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. In business, we talk a lot about business here. You're on with Get Down to Business, and I'm your host, Shalom Klein. Remember, you can always download podcasts on my website at syklein.com. And while you're there, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Shalom Klein. It's going to be a jam-packed week of content and information you'll not want to miss. So let's jump right in. So excited to be joined by Roshan Shah. Roshan navigates the nexus of real estate and crypto innovation. We've talked about both of those two areas on the program previously, but Roshan is also the founder of Decimal Digital Currency, a Bitcoin mining company focused on separately managed accounts. He's got so much to share from his role as a principal and equity owner at Avison Young, the world's fastest growing commercial real estate service firm. And really, Roshan, what I'm really excited about talking about is exactly that, the nexus between these two, at least to me, seemingly different industries. Roshan Shah, welcome to the program. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Shalom. Great to be here.
Absolutely. So as I always love to do with our listeners, I like to get to know the person behind the microphone. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, professionally, I've got 4 different businesses that I run. I have my own commercial real estate brokerage business. I have a real estate investment firm. I have a health and wellness company that I'm a substantial owner of. And then Decimal Digital Currency, which is our Bitcoin mining company.
Wild. And I want to spend time on really all 3 of those areas. But what got you interested in each of those 3 respective industries? Where did the passion come from?
Yeah, with commercial real estate brokerage, coming out of college, I didn't really have many relationships in the industry, but I knew I ultimately wanted to become a large real estate owner and build a massive real estate portfolio. And the one person I spoke to, who's the chairman and CEO of the largest real estate development company in New Jersey, sat down with me and said, the best place to start is in commercial real estate brokerage, because that's where you learn the ins and outs of the industry. You learn how to structure deals. You can make a lot of relationships. And if you're good at what you do, you can make a decent amount of money. And so I started there early, right out of school at CBRE, where I spent 16 years, the largest publicly traded commercial real estate services firm. From there, I had a 5-year stint at Avison Young. I'm no longer there, and now I'm working on my own with my own real estate brokerage business, while also running my own real estate investment firm, acquiring multifamily properties, self-storage properties, hotels, and student housing developments.
All interesting areas. Well, congratulations on all of your success. And I want to understand, as promised, the nexus of real estate and crypto innovation. Where do those 2 areas intersect?
Yeah, I think based on my track record and my experience in real estate over the past couple decades, a lot of what we do in Bitcoin mining, or a large component of what we do rather, is finding compelling data centers, sites where we can host our Bitcoin mining machines for incredibly low cost of power. So it's finding stranded power. It's finding sites that are close to renewable power sources. And then, of course, utilizing my real estate skill sets in negotiating and structuring these deals. So it's very much the case that I'm leveraging my experience putting together these real estate deals in order to optimize the Bitcoin mining firm.
Okay, interesting. Very, very interesting. And so if you were to have a crystal ball on everything cryptocurrency and look, 5 years, that's not too far in the future, I think, Roshan, what would you say? How are things developing and shaping out? Where are we going to be in approximately 2030?
Yeah, 5 years is in the crypto world an eternity. And I'm glad you picked 5 years and not 1 year, just based on the volatility in the crypto industry. But I can say without any doubt that Bitcoin will be in the 6 figures. There'll be much larger adoption and education within the overall industry, and certainly within Bitcoin. I think we'll have a modest regulatory framework around crypto that will give people comfort in investing. And I think you're going to start seeing, you already are, in fact, you'll see more and more institutions, technology companies, pension funds, sovereign wealth funds all enter into the space.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. So you just mentioned some sovereign wealth funds, and actually that leads to my next question. We're having this conversation. Certainly we have a global audience, but in particular, I'm focused on the U.S. market. Where are we in the U.S. in the world of crypto? Are we keeping pace with the rest of the global economy?
I can speak from a standpoint of Bitcoin mining, and it is still a massive hub. In fact, the largest concentration of Bitcoin mining is now in the U.S. after the China ban of 2021. Of course, there are those politicians that will look to stifle innovation and are afraid of the unknown and just generally have a lack of education. And so there will always be attempts to bring Bitcoin and bring crypto down, but it's too late. I mean, it's here to stay. It will continue to flourish in the U.S. I think generationally, the next generation will get it much more than the current generation of leadership. So I would say that the U.S. is keeping pace, but certainly the SEC is doing everything that they can to slow the U.S. down.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Again, chatting with Roshan Shah, and fascinating discussion about the nexus of crypto and real estate. We're going to switch to the real estate side in just a moment. But Roshan, what would you say, especially talking to our audience of small business owners and entrepreneurs, what do they need to know? How can they ride this bandwagon and really ensure that they are staying ahead of the curve and not just following the news and following the trends? Because as you mentioned, even a year is frankly an eternity.
Yeah, I think, and obviously this is a bit self-serving to say it, but I do legitimately believe it. Following the trend would mean going out right now and dabbling with the BlackRock or Fidelity Bitcoin ETF. And I just think that that's just not the right way for your followers who are entrepreneurial and looking to have an edge to get exposure to Bitcoin. I think that if you can find a Bitcoin mining company that's savvy and sophisticated, that knows what they're doing and that can provide you an on-ramp into Bitcoin mining, you will have a much larger safety net and just buffer of risk to get into mining. Because, for example, today we're mining Bitcoin at roughly 20,000 per coin. With Bitcoin trading at 63, I mean, that's a long way for it to have to fall before you're taking a loss, as opposed to going out and buying the underlying asset today at 63. And who knows? I mean, sure, in the long run, it's going up, but it could easily be at 50 in the next few weeks. And now you're sitting on this paper loss.
Absolutely. Roshan, this is fascinating stuff. And I think that there's advice that's here for everybody. And I want to switch in our remaining minute and a half that we have on the program to talk about your work in commercial real estate. And you mentioned some fascinating areas, student housing, storage, and so on. That's interesting. I mean, same question I asked you on crypto is, I mean, we're having this conversation in mid-2024. What's different now than 5 years ago? And where do you see things in 5 years from now going?
Yeah, I think that if you just look at the demographics, people are getting married later, they're having kids later, they're staying into rentals longer, and there's just a massive shortage of affordable housing for families, including single folks, young families. I think you're going to see continued development, but it's being absorbed. I mean, I'm pretty bullish on Raleigh. It's where we have a lot of our development projects. Everything that we're working on is spoken for before we even are finished with the project. And I think that continues. So, the same would go for student housing. Just a couple of weeks ago, we acquired a large parcel of land at NC State campus. We can put up 600 beds for student housing. I mean, there is just nowhere near enough beds for all the students and new applicants that are starting. And I think there's pockets of that nationally, but that's the general theme.
Well, perhaps one of the most important bits of advice that I would have for our listeners is to follow you, Roshan Shah, because I know you are staying abreast of the developments in all of these areas, and frankly, so much more. To provide best counsel and guidance to your clients. Roshan, how can we get in touch if we want to stay in touch and learn more?
Yeah, the best bet would be to email me. I'm either at Roshan@decimalgroup.io, or Roshan at hamiltonroadcapital.com.
Absolutely. We're going to squeeze in a quick break here on the show. All about small business jobs and entrepreneurship. We will be right back.